Today on episode 15 of the Play Guitar podcast, I help players get through the dreaded guitar plateau. I'll break down the reasons this might happen and what you can do to bust through your guitar rut. Also, we've got listener feedback, so stay tuned. Welcome to episode 15 of the Play Guitar podcast. I'm Lee, and this is the podcast that's determined to make you a better guitar player. No matter if you're just starting out or if you've been playing for years, this is the show that'll help you become the guitarist you always wanted to be. On today's episode, I'm going to deal with the thing I like the least in my journey with the guitar. It's called the guitar plateau. That always sounded kind of funny to me, the plateau, but it does describe what happens when you get in a rut. Your guitar playing just feels like it's going nowhere. You're not moving up. You're not moving down. You've just leveled off. And no matter how much effort you put in, everything just sounds the same. I've gone through a lot of these and I've helped a lot of students through their guitar rut. It's never any fun. But I can say to you, if you're in a rut with your guitar playing, they don't last forever. I wonder how many people have quit playing guitar just because they hit their first plateau and they just said, forget it. There might be more people that have quit than actually are playing guitar. I've read different percentages. Would you like to know them? They're all high. They're very high. Oh no, another Star Wars reference. Sorry about that. Don't do that. There are a lot of things you can do to inspire your playing and get back to moving forward. At the end of the main topic today, I'm going to share my favorite tip to help you bust through a guitar rut. I've also got some listener feedback today, so I'm going to go ahead and jump right into the main topic. But I just want to say thanks for listening today, and we'll go ahead and start the show. Thanks a lot. Oh no, it happened. All that fun and excitement the guitar brought you over the months or years, it started to wind down. You don't have that feeling that you just can't wait to get to your guitar anymore, and you can't wait to start practicing. And when you do spend time playing, something just doesn't feel right. There are a lot of reasons that you might feel this way. It could be that you're tired of playing the same old songs over and over, or you're bored with the things that you're trying to practice, or you know you're missing some key ideas to move forward with the guitar, but you're not sure what to do. It could be you've memorized a ton of songs, but you still don't feel like you understand what you're doing. Or you're trying to write your own songs and you're having a hard time coming up with anything that sounds good. Or whatever it is that you're practicing, it just doesn't seem to get better, no matter how much time you put in. Whatever the reason, you've hit the guitar plateau, the rut. This happens a lot to intermediate players. The thrill of learning these mysterious sounds and skills is gone. And it started to become a chore. Instead of feeling like you're constantly moving forward, you seem to stay at the same level, no matter how much time you put into the guitar. And this isn't just limited to intermediate players. Advanced players get in ruts all of the time too. Maybe they're tired of playing the same songs or the same style of music all the time. And beginners, if they're trying to teach themselves over the internet, you can get so overwhelmed and lost that they're just discouraged before they really even get started. Today, I'm going to go over some of the most common reasons that you may have hit a plateau on the guitar. And I'll give some guitar rut busters for each of these reasons. These are tips to help you bring back the excitement of learning the guitar and restore the momentum that you had. I remember when I was first really playing a lot of gigs. I was in my 20s and it started out being a lot of fun. The bands I was in, they had a lot of great ideas. We started off practicing all the time. Things were exciting. We started playing a lot of clubs and it was awesome. People would come to see us play. They said lots of nice things, made us feel good. It was great. But What started out as a few gigs here or there soon became too much to handle. And we wanted to play as much as possible. Why wouldn't you? But we didn't realize that we were wearing ourselves out. And our practice, that's the first thing to go. Practice went right out the window. There's no time for that. So we just kept playing the same songs over and over. Every once in a while, somebody would come in with a new song to play on the next gig, and that would always end up bad. Half the band wouldn't work on the song. And so we would just try and play it anyway in front of a live audience. And that always ended up the way you would think, which was terrible. The band members who did practice the song, they'd be mad at the other ones. And the ones who didn't practice the song, they could care less. I remember thinking I was in a rut. I had so many things I wanted to do on the guitar with no time to do them. All of my extra time was spent playing these same songs over and over again. Was all of this effort worth it? Soon I found myself not even looking at my guitar in between gigs. I wasn't getting better. I was just staying the same, and I was becoming bored. I had to make some decisions. I didn't want to quit playing the guitar, but I couldn't stay in this situation. It took a while for me to get out of that and back on track, and I wish now that I had used some of the tips that we're going to go through today. It would have saved me a lot of time and a lot of frustration. This is just one of the musical plateaus I've experienced during my journey on the guitar. I'm sure if you've had to deal with a guitar rut, the situation will be different for you. But the way you and I felt, it was probably the same. Now I'm going to go over some of the reasons why you might be in a guitar rut and what you can do about it. So with thinking about this, I think the best way to approach this is to talk about how you feel playing the guitar. The guitar is supposed to be fun, right? But how we feel when we play the guitar is so important. It always shows up in your playing. Whether you're happy or you're sad, excited, or you're bored, it'll show right through. If we're struggling on the guitar, it's tough to really make a song sound the way it should. I'm going to group the reasons that you may have hit a guitar plateau by the feelings that you're experiencing. I think that grouping them this way is the best way to organize this because the solutions are very similar for each problem that happens in these groups. So the first one we're going to talk about is boredom. That's the first feeling that you may feel when you're in a guitar plateau. Being bored with what you're playing or practicing is a sure way to know if you're experiencing a rut. It could be a sign that you're ready to move forward on the guitar, or it could be that you aren't experiencing the progress that you expected. Another reason you could be bored on the guitar is you're spending a lot of time practicing things that don't have anything to do with what it is that makes you excited about playing the guitar. There are many reasons why someone might be bored in their guitar practice. And let's talk about some ways to get past this boredom and on to more exciting things. One way to combat boredom on the guitar is to mix it up. If you're just practicing something all of the time and that doesn't excite you, put it aside for a while. Yes, I'm sure that whatever it was you were working on is important, but enjoying yourself playing music is equally important. Set those things aside for a while and try something new. Another thing you could try to get out of a boredom type rut is you could try playing a different style of music that you've always wanted to learn. Try to find new things to practice that will help you play in this new style. You could also find some other players that already play this kind of music and ask them what it takes to be really good at this style. Even if it takes a while to get comfortable playing in this new way, the process will be new and exciting. You could also try to take a break from what you were doing and focus on something else. If learning songs is starting to get boring, try working on music theory. It's never a bad idea to understand the reason why you're playing the things that you are. Just memorizing things that others have played only gives you a small part of the picture. If you knew the reasons why a player chose to play a certain passage, you could take that knowledge and use it to create something that sounds just as good, but it's your own creation. That to me is so much more exciting than being able to play note for note someone else's solo or their song. Okay, if you're practicing scales all the time, try focusing on chords for a while. Understanding chords and their relationship to each other it's huge. There's always something new to learn with chords. And also, there's always something new to learn about their relationship to each other. And try spending some time on some rhythm for a while as well. Rhythm is very important. And from my experience in lots of different guitar lessons, it's not talked about a lot. It's very, very important. So maybe focus on rhythm for a while. Also, if you're bored with your regular practice on the guitar, spend some time writing songs. Songwriting is a skill that has to be developed, just like the regular things you practice on, just practice anything on guitar. Try writing a few songs. It's fun, but you'll notice something pretty quick. Those first songs that you come up with, they don't always sound the way you wish that they would. But you got to keep at it. Before long, you'll start to come up with songs that you're proud of, and then you can't wait to play for others. The last tip I have is, playing for others is a great way to get out of boredom guitar plateau. I've never been bored playing music for other people. Just the fact that you're playing in front of some kind of an audience, it takes away any feeling of boredom. You may have some other feelings though. You might have excitement, fear of playing in front of others, for example, but you won't be bored. You might be ready to find some others to play with and try and book a gig. That will get you out of your rut. It'll put some pressure on you. So make sure you're ready before you jump into playing for others for that pressure. But that pressure, that knowing that you've got to play for someone else, it will put you on the right track. Okay, the second feeling that we're going to talk about that you might feel when you're in a guitar rut is impatience. Impatience is another feeling that you have during a guitar plateau. It's really easy to feel impatient on the guitar. I've had a lot of students that feel this way. Being great at the guitar is not something that happens overnight. It's a skill that takes a long time to master. In the world we live in, where things happen so quickly, starting to play the guitar can be a shock to some people. And time is not something we have a lot of, to put plainly. The guitar takes time. It also could be that you're new to the guitar and you didn't realize how much time it takes to get better. Or it could be that you've been playing for a while and you're working on something that you like to play, but you're not experiencing the results you want. Either way, feeling impatient is no fun. So working on your patience when it comes to learning the guitar is very important. And how you feel is not always how things actually are. I see students all the time where I can definitely see them from week to week getting better, but they don't feel that way. I explain it to them like the difference between going up a ramp or going up steps. When you have a steady practice routine, you're usually getting better in a nice, steady way. You're constantly going up at a small angle, like a ramp, but it never feels that way. Most of the time, it feels like you aren't getting any better at all. You feel like you're just putting in the time and wondering if it's worth it. You're getting impatient, and it will feel that way usually until someone goes out of their way to give you a compliment. Boom. You feel like you just moved up to the next step. Compliments always work. It feels like steps, but it's actually more like a ramp. If you're putting the time in, you are getting better. Understanding this and working on your patience until you reach that next step is key to moving forward on the guitar. When I explain that this is how progressing works with the guitar, it usually helps put things into perspective for the impatient student. A great way to battle impatience on the guitar is give yourself smaller challenges. I've heard it called quick wins a lot lately. Setting smaller goals that are easier to obtain. It's a great way to move forward without being impatient. Trying to learn a certain scale over the whole guitar at once. Instead, try spending a week just learning it in one position first, and then move on to the next. Setting smaller goals always makes me feel like I'm accomplishing something. The next feeling we'll talk about is the feeling that you get during a rut. You feel like you're spinning your wheels. That feeling that you're not getting results, it's very frustrating. You're not bored with what you're doing. You're willing to put in the time. You're not feeling impatient, but you just think that you're not getting the results that you should have for the time that you put in. There can be a lot of reasons why you might feel like you're spinning your wheels. You could be missing a key skill that you need to move forward. You aren't getting the traction you need in your practice because you're working on areas that you need other skills to complete. One example would be playing solos over certain chord progressions. If you don't understand how scales and chords work together, you can try playing solos over chords all you want, but you won't get the results that you're looking for. You also might need some outside help to get you moving forward on the guitar again. Sometimes it's difficult to really evaluate your own playing. You may need help with something when you don't even realize it. Finding someone who's farther along than you on the guitar that you trust to give you some friendly criticism can also be helpful. Finding a good teacher is a great way to help with this problem. I know I've benefited from this many times throughout my journey on the guitar. If you aren't ready for this kind of criticism, though, here's something that you can try. Try taking a video of yourself playing something. Just take the video and save it. Let it sit overnight. The next day, before you play anything else, get a pen and paper and sit down to watch the video. Write down the things that you notice. I'm sure you'll find something that you weren't expecting. It could be your picking or the way you play a certain chord. Whatever it is, just write it down. The next time you practice, work on some of the areas you found from watching the video. This could be a way to find some of the areas that might be holding you back if you don't have access to someone that you trust that would give you some good criticism. Another way that could help you start to move forward is to play with some other players that are farther along than you, who you think are better than you. Don't ever be afraid to do this. I know it sounds scary, but trust me, this can do a world of good for you for several reasons. First, just the pressure of trying to keep up with better players will give you tons of focus. You'll see right away the things you might be missing that could get you to their level. I'm sure if you do this, your practice routine will change overnight. Also, hopefully you can get some feedback from them about what you might need to work on to move forward. Each time you play with them, you'll be putting yourself in a situation that you will learn so much from. It's a great way to jumpstart your playing and really start moving forward. The last thing you can try to stop spinning your wheels is to approach your practicing differently. There are many different ways to practice the guitar. You may be working in a way that's not effective for you. Try looking for a new method or a teacher that could help you approach the guitar differently. You may respond to song-based learning rather than spending hours going up and down scale patterns or something like that. So just changing the way you approach your time with the guitar can have a drastic effect on your progress. The next feeling we're going to talk about that could have you in a guitar plateau is confusion. Sometimes you just have no idea what it is you're trying to learn or how to go about doing it. There are always new things to learn on the guitar, and they're rarely easy. If you don't have someone to show you the best way to learn something, it's very easy to get lost, especially today where there's so much exciting information available to us, but there's very little insight as to why you would want to learn it and how to use it in the first place. It's kind of like, here you go, try this, see how you do. There's so much more to learning the guitar than the a la carte method of learning. Knowing how something works and why it works is very important when you're playing music. With so many tabs and guitarists trying to copy exactly the way others play, it's easier and easier to get stuck and confused about what you're playing. Understanding music theory, the mechanics of how music works, it's very important. Try to start today learning at least the basics of music theory. I know it doesn't sound exciting, but it unlocks doors that can help you play things that you only dreamed of being able to play. Now that sounds exciting. You don't have to become a music theory professor. Even the basics of music theory can help you understand what you're already playing, and it'll clear the path ahead of you to start moving forward on the guitar. Again, if you're really confused about what you're trying to learn, you'll need some help. Try finding someone who's willing to help. If you can't find anyone to help you, feel free to contact me here. Feedback@playguitarpodcast.com. I'd be happy to help point you in the right direction. And you can also sign up for my waiting list at www.playguitaracademy.com. the academy's coming pretty soon, and it's designed from the method I use from my group classes they're designed to help you move forward on the guitar without a lot of confusion. So we got some other feelings too that might get you in a rut. You might feel overworked or underworked. The last feelings I've seen during some of my guitar students' ruts deal with time spent practicing and playing. Some students practice so much that they overwhelm themselves. This can really slow down the results that you can achieve from practice. Sometimes the brain can only take so much new information before it's had enough. If this sounds like you need a guitar vacation. That's right. A guitar vacation. Time away from the guitar. Time to step back and give your brain and your hands a break. Some students love to have a set schedule and they rigidly stick to it no matter how they're feeling or what's going on. They always like to push through to the next level. And this only works for so long. Don't be afraid to put the guitar down for a while, even for just a few days. Give yourself time to process what you've learned and the muscles in your hands, wrists, and arms a break. The flip side of that coin is the student that doesn't feel like they spend enough time with the guitar, and that's causing their guitar plateau. In today's world, we're all busy with work, family, and friends. And also with all the distractions we have, it's hard to find time to sit down and play for a while. It can be very frustrating knowing how much you want to learn the guitar, but life is not allowing you the time. I like to help students like this find even 15 minutes during their day that they could practice. Usually it's a time either late at night or early in the morning, some time that you have very few distractions. The key is to have your practice space already set up. You can just head over to your space, sit down, and play. You have your guitar and your teaching materials. They're out and they're ready. Just make those few minutes that you have during the day the best you can. The key to this, though, is to repeat this daily. The act of repetition, even if it's only for a few minutes a day, is so beneficial. The repetition works directly with your long-term memory. You'll be able to retain the things that you learn easier than someone who practices for hours, but only once a week. It's okay to practice those few minutes every day because the daily repetition becomes smart practice. Try it out. I'm sure you'll see progress even with the limited time that you have. So that's all the feelings that you might feel when you're in a guitar rut and some ways to get past them. But I want to tell you my favorite tip for dealing with a guitar plateau, and that's a timeline. I know this is not one of those self-help type A shows, that tell you timelines, but here's why a timeline is just what you might need to start moving forward again. One of the problems with learning the guitar, unless you've got some sort of gig where you have to have a certain song or a certain technique ready by showtime, the learning the guitar is very open-ended. Not having a set time to accomplish something leaves you open to a lot of exploring. I guess you could call a lot of guitar players guitar explorers. They explore a little bit of this and then a little bit of that. And it's fun. I love doing that. I love seeing all that there is to learn. And that's why the a la carte method is so popular on things like YouTube. One day you can try fingerstyle guitar, then the next you might learn funk chords, and the next you could try out tapping, whatever. But that way of learning is not very effective. That's the problem. You may know a little bit of a lot of different things, but you end up frustrated. You haven't put into practice anything. And that phrase is key, put into practice. To be effective at something on the guitar, you need to spend more than about an hour on it. So let's try the other side of that. The other big problem is getting too focused. Working on something over and over, day after day, without seeing any results at all can be very disheartening. It can make you feel defeated. A lot of players just get to the point where they give up. You might hear, "This just isn't for me," or "I'll never get better at this thing." And that's just not the case at all. Playing guitar isn't rocket science. Most likely you're missing a key bit of information, or you need more work on a skill of some sort that's holding you back. And this is where a timeline comes in. Let's make some decisions before we start putting all of this time into the guitar. Get a sheet of paper or a spreadsheet or even open a notepad on your computer. Write down your biggest problem that you need to work on the guitar. The one that you or someone that you trust, that you think would help you move forward the most at the stage you're at right now. It could be working on bar chords or a scale pattern or phrasing, rhythm, maybe singing and playing at the same time. Whatever it is, let's set a date to accomplish it. And let's make it the focus of your daily practice routine. It doesn't have to be everything you do, but it's the main thing. And let's say we'll do that for 2 weeks. So for the next 2 weeks, you're going to focus on learning and practicing everything you can about bar chords. The important thing about this is that you set an end date. At the end of your 2 weeks, you're going to move on from your time focusing on bar chords. During times when you're not actually practicing, make sure you're doing specific research on the topic or the skill that you're focusing on. Now, let's try and think ahead and plan for the next 2 weeks. Write down another thing that you think you need to work on. Plan for that next. And then do one more topic after that. So in the end, you have the next 6 weeks planned with 3 topics to focus on. Each topic gets 2 weeks of attention. So what will this do for you? Well, it sounds way too simple to be effective, but it is. It really is. What you've done is you've made some decisions and you put a time limit on them. This puts some pressure on your subconscious mind. It says, okay, I've only got 2 weeks to get this under my fingers. I need to get to work. The way you approach practicing now is completely different. And the time limit, it sets your brain in motion. You're now trying to get results instead of hoping for results. And this change is pretty powerful. But when you hit that date, make sure you move on to the next thing. You can always revisit what you were working on at a later date. But you're ready to move on to a new topic with a new deadline. And by the time you're through with your third 2-week period, I guarantee you'll be out of your guitar rut. So if you're feeling like you're floundering on the guitar a bit, try this guitar timeline out and let me know in the show notes if this has helped you. I'm sure it will be effective in getting you out of your rut. So to summarize, today I took on the dreaded guitar rut. I talked about the things that could be contributing to your plateau, using the feelings that come along with a rut: boredom, impatience, spinning your wheels, confusion, feeling overworked, or frustration about not even having enough time to spend with the guitar. I gave tips to deal with all the problems that contribute to each of these feelings. And finally, I gave my favorite tip about busting out of a guitar plateau, the guitar timeline. I hope this helped you. I know that we all go through this from time to time. Even if you aren't currently in a guitar rut, I'm sure that this could help you the next time you start to hit that plateau. So what has been the toughest plateau that you faced on the guitar? And did you get through it? Let me know how you did. You never know, your answer could help a lot of people who are in the same situation that you're in. This is listener feedback. This is where if you have a comment or a question that I can help you with, I'll try my best to help you. To get in touch, you can always email me at feedback@playguitarpodcast.com. You can use the comments on the show notes page or use the contact form on my site. But the coolest way to leave a question for the show is by my SpeakPipe voicemail. When you go to the main page of playguitarpodcast.com, to the right of the screen, you see a button. It's called Send Voicemail, and hit that, and that will allow you to record a short message for me to use on the show. You can also get to this voicemail on my contact page. If you're listening back to this show on a future date, just to let you know, we're now starting to move into spring. Yes, we're in April. I'm recording this on April 10th, 2018. In fact, this has been spring break week. And I wasn't sure there would be any feedback at all because everyone's busy. I was busy. Everyone was busy. So I thought maybe I'd just skip it this week. But lo and behold, this week turned out to be pretty good. The show had its most downloads ever this week. And I did have a few folks write in. So how about that? That's all right. But before I get into the comments, I just want to say how much fun I'm having doing the show. It's going way better than I thought it would. And I'm really enjoying the questions and comments coming in. I've been recording these once a week, starting at the beginning of this year, 2018. But I didn't release the first episodes until the beginning of February. So these shows have only been available for about 2.5 months. And there's a lot of new listeners every week, and the show is growing pretty fast. So if this is your first time listening, I'd just like to welcome you and thank you for spending your valuable time listening to the show. And if you have been listening already, please keep sending your questions in, because they don't just help you, they help a lot of other people too. Since I made the switch to teaching group classes, and that was about 4 years ago, I see it all the time. Sometimes you can ask a question that somebody else may have had trouble putting. They may have had the same question, but they couldn't put it into words. So it really helps out. So feel free to contact me. I am happy to help. So we just have 2 this week, and I have something else I want to talk about too. But I got an email from Jason, and Jason said some nice things about the podcast, and he listens to it in the car to and from work. And he's been playing guitar for a long time, like I have. And he's been in bands and all those kind of things. And being a dad and work and everything like that, it's hard to get to the guitar for him. But he says the podcast has helped keep him focused, and even using that small amount of time, he's really making some good gains from that. So thank you, Jason. Thank you for writing in. And I'm in your boat too. I've been playing for a long time too, and I've got a lot of things going on. And now I'm doing all this stuff, which I love, plus my teaching and all those things. And it's tough to find time with the guitar. For me, though, I'm teaching a lot, so I'm always going over the basics with my students. So at least I'm on the guitar a good bit. But I understand it's tough, and we talked about that this week. Even if you've got 15 minutes, just be intentional with it, be focused with it, and it doesn't have to be a bad thing. If you can repeating is the key. If you can repeat, you're going to retain all the things that you're working for. I know I used to just sit around for hours, before I had a lot going on, and just noodle and just, just jam along and stuff like that. And I don't know if any of that really helped me or not. I guess it would a little bit, because I came up with some good ideas doing those kind of things. But my biggest gains have been when I've actually sat down to learn something specific. So thanks, Jason. I appreciate the email, and have a good one. Okay. So I've also been talking with Chris again. Chris and I have been talking a lot lately, and we've been back and forth about a bunch of stuff. But one thing he brought my attention to, let me get this up here, a website called wikiloops.com. And Wikiloops here, let's see, it has a free backing track exchange online. And this is kind of the thing when all this internet stuff started happening. Everybody thought, wow, wouldn't it be great to be able to record on other people's songs and trade songs back and forth and everything. And they've been doing it here. I don't know how I missed this, but for 7 years they've been doing this. It's pretty neat. I think there's a way that you can do a few, you can collaborate with a few songs for free. And then they also have a, where you can sign in and all those things. I guess a paid, I'm not sure. Let's see here. Let's click join us. Yeah. So there's different access that you can have to this, but basically what you do is they've got a track, or you can upload a track for other people to play on. You download it, you add your part to it, and put it back up there. And so you're kind of collaborating with other people. It's pretty cool. When I get some time, I may put one up there. You never know. Looks like fun. So anyway, thanks, Chris, for bringing that to my attention so I could talk about it to everybody else. And that is going to do it for today. So, like I say, that's a wrap. Thanks for joining me today for the Play Guitar. Oh, wait. Stop. I want to talk about one of my students. She's a friend of mine named Cheryl. And Cheryl is really going through something cool right now. She has gotten her first band. And the excitement is, you can just feel the excitement. And she's gotten paid. And isn't that a wonderful thing? If you've been a gigging musician, can you remember the first time you got paid to play a gig? It's awesome. And I'm kind of reliving that through her right now. So she's been getting together with the band members and getting everything. So congratulations, Cheryl. Great job. Okay, so now that's a wrap. Thanks for joining me today for the Play Guitar Podcast. If you like what you heard, please subscribe to the show on iTunes or your podcast player. Also, I'd really appreciate it if you could leave an iTunes review for the show. If you're interested in online lessons, go on over to playguitaracademy.com and join my early adopter list to get news on the opening of the site and an early adopter discount. Also, follow me on all my different social media pages. Links to them are at playguitarpodcast.com. Thanks again, and I'll see you on the next episode.